What's up, Totem Pole Nation? Welcome back to First or Last. Today we are getting into the preview of the Advent Health 400 at Kansas. We're going to give you who we're excited to see, who we're disappointed with so far. We'll go over our favorite paint schemes, and then we'll give you some predictions and picks about who we think is going to perform well today and maybe who won't be performing well. I have to remind you guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Our socials are scrolling below. If you have any ideas you want us to bring up or talk about, that's how you can reach us. TotemPoleNation.com is the place to go to get gear and support the boys. Let's get into this Kansas preview right now.
All right, so going through the results, row one, you have Christopher Bell and Ross Chastain.
Yeah, Noah Gragson and Kyle Larson are starting in row two.
Row three is Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs.
Austin Cindric and Michael McDowell make up the all Ford row. Well, I forgot how to count. They're starting 7th and 8th.
9th and 10th, you have Chase Elliott and Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, Joey Logano and Chris Buescher keep the Fords going right here in 11th and 12th.
And then all Toyotas, 13 through 15, with Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, and last year's fall winner Tyler Reddick in 15th.
Yes, sir. And big names outside of there, we're seeing Alex Bowman is starting in 18th. He's had an up and down year. Pretty good, but nothing to write home about. Jimmy Johnson has had the opposite of that in his limited starts this year, but he's starting in 19th. So that was kind of a surprise. Bubba Wallace talking about Toyota and 2311 as a whole, dominating at this track. He won a couple years ago. He's starting in 23rd. Blaney 26th. Keselowski 30th. And William Byron starting in 36th.
Yeah, so when we're talking about 2311's dominance, they have won 3 of the last 4 races at Kansas, with 3 different drivers, that being Tyler Reddick, obviously Bubba, not this past race, but the fall before in 22. And then Kurt Busch won the spring race that year. So as a whole, 2311's won 3 of the last 4, and Denny Hamlin is the only other winner who obviously owns both of those 2 cars. So Toyota, really meaning 2311, and Denny Hamlin has dominated the last 2 years at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, and you include Denny in a couple years before that. They've won 6 out of the past 8 as a manufacturer. So we've seen the practice speeds versus the qualifying speeds. We can get into that a little bit. Practice-wise, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, we talk about 3 past winners here, the most recent winners here. And then, you look a little bit farther back and you see some more Joe Gibbs cars, but it's exactly who we've been seeing. It's 2311 at the top when it comes to practice speeds, William Byron, second best practice run. Did something happen to him in qualifying?
Yes, he wrecked in qualifying, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right. Well, that would make sense for him to be starting.
Or so he didn't wreck. He got loose, got into the wall, and just tried to keep his foot in it. But he ran a 31-second lap, so not really up to par. Obviously, hitting the wall slowed him down some.
Right.
Obviously, with a second-place qualifying car, you would expect, or a second-place practice car, you would expect a little more. But getting into that wall slowed him down a good bit there.
Right, and he's obviously, I don't know how many laps we're going to have to wait before we see him inside the top 20 and then eventually to the 15, and I would assume crack the top 10 at some point. But like I just mentioned, like we just talked about, Toyotas have been historically good here for the past 3 years. So 4 years, really. So he's not going to be my pick this week is what I'll say. Even though he's definitely one of those guys, regardless of where they start, that he's going to work his way up.
Yeah, so we'll get into picks now. My pick for this week, I talked about him last week. I've kind of been on him for the last 3 weeks now, but I think this is the week that Ford gets their first win of the season. And I think that comes by way of the 10 car in Stewart-Haas Racing with Noah Gragson behind the wheel. So the last 3 weeks, Obviously, the third place finish at Talladega. He started inside the top 10 at Dover, ran there all race long. Never had really any true issues. And then today he starts third. So I'm thinking they're on the upswing, and this is the week for Ford to get a win and break Toyota's dominance at Kansas.
Yeah, I also think it's going to be a non-Toyota car, but I'm looking at Ross Chastain to end this like mediocre-ish run that he's been on the past few weeks. We've seen a lot of his, well, kind of his only success this year has been at like the intermediate distance track. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is another good run for him here. He's already starting up front, and it seems like whenever he starts well or works his way up later into races, it's always some sort of like mental thing that happened. Maybe not with him, but like there's a strategy error or they mistimed a pit stop when it comes to like who the leaders are coming down to it. And so like nothing to do with how he's been driving, kind of. I'm not really disappointed with him. It always seems to be some sort of strategy mishap.
Yep.
Works his way back to like a 13th place finish or something like that. So I think that ends this week. We'll get into paint schemes later, but he's obviously got the bush light back on the car with the crock as well. So it just seems to be all tides are turning for him. But before we get into paint schemes, impressed, disappointed, excited to watch. We just gave you our picks, so that would add a little bit to the who we're excited to watch because we want to be right, obviously. But starting with disappointed this week, so Ford as a whole this year, we've kind of been shitting on them. They haven't had a win yet. They've been dominated in a lot of weeks. There's also been some unlucky turns for them with their top guys like Joey and whatnot. But here's a driver that every week, I swear, he gets our hopes up. He's been my excited to watch a couple times. All right, a couple times when it wasn't, John Hunter, who I've given up on. This is another guy I've been excited to see, and it's Michael McDowell. So I'm not disappointed in his 8th place start. I'm just putting it into the universe. I'm already disappointed for him letting me down again this week with whatever the hell is going to happen. Whether it's him, starting that huge wreck a couple weeks ago. He also like mechanical failure at the 500, not his fault, but he was running super well there. He had another like front row start the next week and crashed out in that one. It just, every time he starts well, something goes wrong. So my disappointment is just, I'm already disappointed for getting my hopes up this much for Michael McDowell.
Yeah, and I think that's a good pick there, but mine, honestly, so I'm staying on the Stewart Haas train. I've been on this bid for now 3 weeks, and we talked about it in one of the previous videos, I think at the duel, about Tony possibly selling a charter and getting rid of a team and becoming a 3-car organization, or is Junior going to buy in, or whatever you may have, whatever your conspiracy is. But the 41 of Ryan Preece is the worst car in that organization. He has been, now this is year 2. I gave him some slack year 1 because I thought maybe he's figuring everything out. He was obviously not full-time the year before, so let's give him a year to figure it out. Well, if you look at average finishes, the only car that has a worse average finish is Josh Berry, who is a rookie, who has had some unlucky situations happen this year. The past several weeks, he's ran in the top 15, so great for him. But Ryan Preece is starting in 32nd. All of his teammates are starting inside the top 20. So there is a disconnect or a driver issue or something going on with that organization, but the 41 car has absolutely stunk it up for the last 2 years. So my conspiracy still is Dale Jr. buys in, but I think it's time for Ryan Preece to possibly go a different direction. Let's not say fire because that's rude, but they definitely need to go another direction when it comes to this 41 car. Maybe it's Riley Herbst in it full time. Bring Cole Custer back to the Cup Series. One of those 2 things possibly, and let's get Ryan Preece out of the door. Now, Tony is a huge Priest fan, and
You
Gene
could
Haas
snipe
is
Eric Jones from Legacy. You could definitely give him more
Yeah.
money than Legacy's giving him.
or snap, pull another driver from another team like Eric Jones, who's ran good and good equipment. But and Gene Haas is paying Ryan Priest's ride anyway, so who sponsors him every week. So maybe it's a Gene Haas that's keeping Ryan Priest here, but the product on track is not very good. So that's my disappointment, and I'm probably going to stick with that. Might be for the remainder of the season until, somebody at Stewart Haas figures it out. And I don't know when that's going to be, but the 41 car has stunk it up and continues to do so. So that is still my disappointment.
Yeah, I hear you there. Well, my impressed part of this is we can exclude him. It's Ford as a whole this week, just for this starting lineup, right? Like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, both of us have shit on Ford all year, and he's a Stewart Haas guy, right? So it's been very honest discussion about how they went from winning all 3 championships last year to being a third into the season without a win. So sharp contrast there for sure. But I think this week it just seems like the tides are turning a little bit. They've got 6 of the top 12 in the starting lineup. Like you mentioned, Gregson, this has got to be one of the best starts of his Cup career, if not the best start.
It is the best.
Yeah, that's what I would assume so. And then, I've already put my opinion into the universe about how McDowell's day is going to go, but him starting 8th, Cindric in 7th. We know Cindric can find a way to, fuck it up pretty quick. Yeah, but Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, Mr. Busher in 12th. I think those 3, and then Gregson as well. That's a solid 4 that I think are going to be running within that top 15 all day. So I think it's kind of impressive for the tides to have turned so sharply. So many cars have success over the other manufacturers, but obviously we have to see how it shakes out on the track.
So I'm actually gonna follow you. Obviously, I'm impressed with Gregson, but since he's my pick, I'll go a different route here. Impressed for me, I'm gonna go with a whole organization just like you done, or a whole manufacturer. Toyota. They've dominated. We talked about their dominance of Kansas the last 3 years, with Hamlin winning 2, Bubba, obviously Kurt Busch, and Tyler Reddick with 23-11. But let's look at practice times just as a whole. So Reddick ran 26 laps, was the fastest car in practice. Bubba ran 35 in a row, no pits, didn't change tires, anything like that. Was the 3rd fastest car. Denny Hamlin, who we've already spoke on, was in 5th. And then Toyota, the next Toyota driver, is 11th with Christopher Bell, who qualified on the pole. So obviously the Toyotas have speed. They have, it seems like, all year. And then obviously Ty Gibbs qualifying inside the top 10. But when is it Ty Gibbs' turn? That's my question. We talked about him for what seemed like 5 weeks in a row about how good he was running.
Yeah.
He was getting rid of that silver spoon mantra, and now he's back finishing outside the top 15. So when is it Ty Gibbs' turn? This could be the week, but Toyota as a whole is going to be my impressed this week. And let's see if they can go for win number 5 in a row as a manufacturer.
Yeah, I mean, so just speaking on Gibbs, he had 10th place finish last week. Talladega, I'm pretty sure he got caught up, finished 22nd. Yep. Texas was 13th, and then like you mentioned, Martinsville 19th, Richmond 16th. So wait, let's look at where he finished at Bristol as well. Top 10 at Bristol. I mean, he had 6 top 10s in almost a row, 5 in a row. Yep. When it came to top 10s. He's got 3 top 5s. What other track would a Toyota break through on, right? Than past 6 out of 8 winners at fucking, at Kansas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think he can be one that breaks through. All right,
that's not saying Chevy's gonna run bad. Sorry, because Kyle Larson's gonna be there at the end of the race. He's freaking Kyle Larson.
Byron's gonna work his way up.
Byron's gonna be up there. That's not saying Chevy's not gonna run good. Kyle Busch has won at Kansas in the past. He's starting inside the top 10. So that's not completely dissing Chevy. I just really like what Toyota's done in the past in this new car and what they've done in practice, because they ran a numerous amount of laps and were 3 of the top 5 in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like what I'm seeing as far as if we get a long run, Toyota's going to be there.
Well, and then even in short run situations, we saw the 11th place practice car get on the pole. So and Christopher Bell, he needs something to go his way. Obviously, he was in contention at Coda. I'm pretty sure it was him and Byron were those 2 cars that you would think, and Byron ended up driving away with it. But he's been driving okay this week or this year. He's just gotten involved in a whole lot of shit, which obviously not his fault. But you're gonna need to see. Does he have a win this year?
Who?
Bell. I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
Where at? Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Phoenix. Yep. And then, good Lord, if things haven't gone downhill since then. Martinsville, 35th. Texas, 17th. Talladega, 38th. Dover, 34th. Yeah, so he's going to need things to turn for him. I think this is, again, like we mentioned, if a Toyota is going to have his tides turn in a race, why not have it be at Kansas?
Yep.
All right, paint scheme time. Here we go.
All right, so I'm gonna go with probably the one as my favorite. I've been asking for the Busch Light scheme to come back. I was confused on why he signed the deal. Obviously, Busch Light sponsored Kevin Harvick every race, it seemed like. And now they're on the car, I guess, 2 out of 12 weeks. But excited to see Busch Light colors back on the one car for Ross Chastain. And they added Crocs, so it's a different kind of scheme. I do love it, though, from Trackhouse.
Yeah, I like that car a lot, too. And I know we disagree about this one, but I think that this Austin Cindric car is just clean. I love the red on black in any scheme. So, like, discount tire, that was kind of getting tired, old. This is a new, red and black type of scheme. So I like it. I know it's a little bland and it looks like something you could have made on like Photoshop beginner, but I'm going with it.
That's one of them procrastination things.
Yeah.
The next one is going to be the 10. So I love this. I love this car. And maybe it's because Gregson's ran it, he was a Bass Pro guy in the Xfinity Series. I think he had Bass Pro on his truck ride. So I'm all for the 10 car running this scheme the rest of the year. I would not be mad about it. Obviously, they're probably going to go back to overstock or something like that that's absolutely atrocious, and I'm tired of seeing. Or maybe that MillerTech scheme from last week. I'd be fine with just swapping that one and the MillerTech one every other week. But I do love that Noah Gragson scheme.
Yeah, and, funny enough, I'm back with another Denny scheme. The Sports Clips car, man, I've shared my opinion on this before. It's kind of similar to the Mavis brakes and tires type thing. Whenever he's in this car, I swear, it is either it's full Ricky Bobby. It's I'm either gonna win or I'm gonna wreck trying to win. And that's how it is when he's in the Sports Clips. That's how it is when he's in that Mavis blue car. And it kind of works out for him pretty well in recent years. Obviously, we've seen him this year wreck trying to make moves for the win. So, I wear that. I take that. I see the text messages. I see the Twitter sphere of everyone shitting on him. I take it because he also gets wins. I think that this is another week where Denny is going to work his way up into the top 10. He's starting 14th, I believe. And he's just, going to whittle his way up there, and then he'll be chilling in the top 5 when it comes to like 20 to go, and we'll see what happens. Moving on. Also, whenever he's in a Sports Clips car, you can bet your ass I'm putting it on here. All right. That's just for everyone to know for future reference.
All right, so the 15 car, I do like it. Now there's another Monster Energy scheme in this week with the 45, but this one's different. This is obviously the zero sugar one. I do like the green at the bottom. I think that kind of it's not too much black. It's got more color to it, more pop. So I do like that scheme for Riley Herbst. Only problem is he's starting in 36th. And that's probably where he'll run, 5-6 laps down. Rick Ware, not a good organization. We've talked about it before. But at least the scheme looks good. You probably won't see it a whole lot on TV because he'll be in the back. Unless he wrecks, then you might see it because they'll show a replay of the caution. But he'll be in the back, but at least it looks good from the side view on NASCAR.com.
Yeah, so he's starting 35th, and then starting in 38th, we have the next best car that we're going to talk about, the Project Wyoming car. I think this is cool as shit. Now, maybe it's because I've been binging Yellowstone for the past few weeks, but I think this car is just beautiful. But again, he's starting 38th, and he's going to probably stay back there outside of the top 30 all day, and we'll see him if it wrecks.
I like it because it's different.
Yeah.
Not because I really like the color scheme or anything like that. It's just different. And I think NASCAR needs more of that because some of these schemes just get bland and old, like the 5 car. Obviously, HendrickCars.com is his main sponsor. But I'm tired of looking at it. They need to change it up. The 4 car and overstock, they need to change it up. Pennzoil on the 22, they need to change it up. It's just certain cars I'm tired of. I'm just tired of seeing the same
Joey's
thing
car for the past 15 years, because even before it was him in the 22, Kurt was driving the same thing.
It has not changed.
It has not changed, dude. So boring.
The only thing that changed was the number went from the middle right under the window to a little bit forward.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, good car. This is definitely a car, like when I was in elementary school, I would have begged to get the die cast from NASCAR.com. And winding things out, we have Mr. Busher in the 17. The Castrol Edge looks like a drag car. I love it, dude. I brought this up when the other Castrol cars were making their rounds. I think Busher had it weeks before as well. It just looks like a drag car, and I think it's really cool. So that's why I like it.
Yep. Definitely looks like a John Force or something like that should be running this, not necessarily Chris Busher.
But yeah, well, that's all I've got for Kansas. You got anything else to add in here?
I'm good, man. Race starts in about 45 minutes. So, start watching it. Study for a test that I have to take tomorrow.
Yes, sir. What's up, Lucas and Morgan? You're catching us at the end of this. But if you didn't catch the rest of it, good thing. It's on YouTube. Just rewind. You can watch. Guys, this is the Kansas preview. We will get you guys with our recap afterwards, either today or tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Make sure to tune in next time. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Hit us up on these socials below if you have any ideas on what you want us to talk about in the NASCAR world. What you got, Lucas and Morgan? What is the question before we get out of here? What the?
No.
No.
Hard pass.
All right. Yeah, hard pass. Not my style of music. Appreciate the question. Love the engagement. But, guys, we're going to get out of here. Make sure to tune in soon. I'm sorry, Lucas or Morgan, whoever's typing right now. We're out. We're gone. Catch us with the recap. This is First or Last. Till next time.